Hello everyone, Tuesday, our second lesson. Hope everybody's having a good day so far. So today we're going to look at 4.6b, expressing the sum of sinusoids as a sinusoid. So in other words, we are going to take two waves, a sine wave and a cosine wave, and we're going to put them together and it's going to form another wave. And using this formula that I like for you to write down, we are going to find A, B, and H. So in other words, we're going to find like a new amplitude. We're going to see what the new shift left or right is. And we're also going to look at the shrink or stretch of the new wave. And so we're looking for A, B, and H. And that's the three that we're going to be finding when you combine two different waves, a sine wave and a cosine wave. What is the new parts going to be? Now this is going to be a little tricky because you're going to have to use your graphing calculator. So if you haven't done so, everybody please get your graphing calculator out. Your answers are going to be approximates. So I have set it up where when you are evaluating this, please select the answer closest to what you get on your calculator. So for instance, you might get one of your answers, say for A, is 2.73 on your calculator, but answer choice might be 2.75. So you know 2.75, 2.73, that's pretty close. So what you're going to do is find the one that's closest to what you get on your calculator. A little tricky, but we'll get through it with no problem if you just watch carefully. So I want everybody to copy this first example down. F of x is equal to 2 sine x plus 5 cosine x. And what I like for you to do is write down A, B, and H. And these are the three variables that we're going to find, A, B, and H. All right, the first one, the easiest one actually, is going to be B. And B is the number in front of x with the sign. So we're going to use sign. B is the number in front of x. So if I look right here, I have 2 sine x. So I'm using sine. The number in front of x is 1. So B is 1. There you go. So that's the easy part taken care of. Now we're going to talk about A and H. Okay, so everybody get your calculators. Please put on y equals 2. And then what I want you to do is take your equation and I want you to put it into your calculator. All right, so we have 2 sine. Now notice there's a parentheses here, so when you put in x, make sure you close it because this 5 cosine x is separate from it. So plus 5 cosine x. Now let's hit graph. Here we have the combination of 2 sine x plus 5 cosine x. So this is a composite. And what we want to do is find the new amplitude. Okay, so when we put those two together, your amplitude changes. So this is what you're going to do next. You are going to press the trace button. And what you're going to do is move your little cursor until it's at the very, very top. All right, now, because this is a zoomed out, you might not get it exact, so you can actually press zoom, and then we're going to press 2 to zoom in, and then press enter. Now we get a little bit more defined part, so I'm going to hit trace again, and I'm going to try to get as high up as I can. All right, so look, we got 5.375, 5.384, 5.379. So the highest point looks like at 5.38. That is your new amplitude. So you come over here, A, 5.38. Now, let's say the book or test question or what I'm going to do on your forms in here in a few minutes that you're going to complete, it might have stated 5.39. So let's say your answer choices were 5.39, 5.36, 5.42, 5.49. Well, it's pretty obvious that 3.8 is closer to 3.9 than any of these. So that would be like the one you would choose. So that's what I mean by when you're doing it with the calculator, you're not going to get it exact like maybe what the book says or whatever. So you try to get the one that's closest to it. So that's how you find A. No big deal. Now, let's talk about H. H is a little bit more trickier. So I'm going to come right here and I'm going to zoom out again. And now what we got to do is analyze the graph. So if you notice, H is a phase shift to left or right. So if you look at this graph, it looks like it's been shifted over. So what you do is you determine visually which one of these points on the x-axis is closest to 0, 0. All right, so if you look, this side is closer to 0, 0 than this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my cursor down to this part right here. Now, look, if the graph had been like that, then you would use this one. So we're going to use this side, put it in trace, and let's move it down. And right where it intersects the X and Y axis, so that one I don't know how close it is, so I'm going to hit zoom in. Maybe it'll get me something a little bit closer. Okay, let's hit trace. Okay, now it says negative 1.17. But our graph actually shifted to the right. All right, since it shifted to the right, your answer is going to be 1.17. That would be your H. That is your phase shift. Now, you've got to be really, really careful and make sure that you choose the answer that is closest to that. So look at your answer choices, and the one that's closest to it, that's the one that you would pick. Okay, let me make a correction on that. When we went through our graph, I'm sorry, I've already erased my graph. When it comes up, the one that's closest to, because it is on the negative side, that would be a negative 1.17. My fault. So if anytime you are closer where you cross the x-axis, the one that's closest to 0, 0, if it's on the negative side, then you're going to have a negative answer here. If you had, say, this graph, where this is closer to the 0, 0, then your H is going to be positive. So closer on the negative side, negative, closer on the positive side, positive. And so that's what you do for H. Okay, let's do another example together, and then y'all are going to be trying these. So everybody write this down. The function of x is equal to sine pi x minus 3 cosine pi x. All right, let's first find list our A, B, H. So we already know that the B is the easiest. B is the number in front of X with sign. So here's sign, here's X, but what's in front? Oh, instead of having 1 or 2, whatever, we have actually pi. So B is pi. So it's always whatever's in front of X, that's what you're going to put for your B. Now, let's go ahead and graph this and see what's going to happen. So we have y equals 2 sine pi. Okay, be careful. Don't close up your parentheses yet, because if you look right here, it's pi times x. It's not sine pi and then x. All right, this has got to be as 1. So you need to put in x here, then close your parentheses. Really important. And also, if you try it, if you had happened to put the parentheses around the pi and then have x, well, sine and cosine is not going to give you like a straight line or parabola. It's going to give you a wave. So therefore, if it doesn't give you a wave, then you did something wrong here. All right, now let's put in minus 3 cosine pi x, and we'll close parentheses again, and let's hit our graph. All right, now you can tell it's pretty obvious that on our curve, this point is closer to the center than this point for our phase shift left and right. Now let's say, well, what if it's not, or we can't tell? Then you'll use the trace button to see which one it's closer to. So I'm going to use trace. Bring my cursor all the way around to this point. Oh man, it's not getting where I want it. So I'm going to hit zoom in, and hopefully it's going to get us a little bit closer. All right, there it is. Trace. All right, so X is around 0.398, so about 0.4, isn't it? So that's going to be your H. All right, we're going to zoom out, because now I need to get the vertex, or I'm sorry, the amplitude. All right, let's zoom out one more time. And of course, when you use your trace button, even though this is a smaller graph, look and see where it's at with the trace, and then look at your answer choices. So we're going to hit trace, and we're somewhere up there. I'm going to hit zoom in just to make sure. Okay, trace. And it looks like Y is at its highest point around 3.16. So our amplitude is around 3.16. And there you have it, class. So look at the two examples that we went over, and watch carefully how I did each part. I'm sorry about this for any confusion about the negative positive, but hopefully everybody understands now how this part comes about. And there you go. So y'all go ahead and complete this, and I'll see everybody tomorrow with your next video.